and she had an incredible run in the OpenClass. Her first match, beating Yara Suarez, who lost a very tight match to Gabi Pessanha in the super heavy final. And then she had another big win over Ana Carolina Vieira Baby, who just won the medium heavy division. So beating two champions on her way to the finals is Amy Campo. She ended up actually losing to Ana Carolina in the weight class, so she didn't make it to the final there. But here we will see a big clash of the new generation.
Absolutely, and Amy Campo also, I don't know if you listed it, Kendall, but ADCC West Coast Trials winner.
Yes.
Some crazy impressive performances there. So whether it's in the gi or in the no gi, I imagine we're going to see a lot of Amy Campo in the finals of the respective genres of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the few who does so well in both. We see Gabriela Pessanha doing a good job trying to drag Amy's right arm across the body, but Amy's able to regain her position here, starts to stand up and open the guard.
Kendall, what do you think is going to be Amy Campo's tools to victory versus the seemingly enigmatic Gabriela Pessanha?
And to be honest, I think the major thing for Amy here that she already does so well that I think gives her a good chance at winning is that she doesn't put too much respect in people's titles, right? Normally a rookie black belt will not come out beating Yara Suarez and Ana Carolina or winning ADCC trials so quickly. She took second at ADCC trials in the East Coast as a brown belt and then won it in the West Coast as a black belt.
Oh, she needs to be careful here.
And while she is, very careful and she is very calculated, she never goes in really fearful. She's always on the attack. So I think that's why she's going to do so well here.
The lapel guard of Gabriela Pessanha has been one of her most popular weapons, such a strong attack. If she's able to transfer the grip onto the leg as she's going for right now, this is a kind of a big moment. But ooh, Amy Campo with a little bit of an interesting
step back,
defense,
right?
trying to step back for the lapel.
She kind of undoes that position. It is interesting though when you think about someone competing in gi and no gi back to back like this. I mean, this was just very recently when she won the West Coast Trials in California. When they're training back-to-back gi and no gi so frequently, those lapel guards can be very, very tricky because those are intricate positions. If you're not consistently using them every day against somebody like Gabi Pessanha, who is excellent there, and that is her A game, and she only trains in the gi or only competes in the gi, as far as I know, then that can get you caught up. So that could be something that is a little bit of a difficult position for Amy to deal with. But, she did just escape it, so really hard to say how that's going to play out.
Amy Campo throwing her left arm underneath the leg to hopefully mitigate the lapel ability of Gabriela Pessanha, but Gabi seemingly unfazed by it, just trying to use it to spin underneath, maybe looking for a leg entry with her right leg. We've seen this so many times this tournament, but Amy Campo.
Big stack here, double under from Amy Campo. She's a little wrapped up there on the left side, but nonetheless able to elevate the hips of Gabi Pessanha.
Yeah, is really preventing and discouraging Amy Campo from elevating too hard. It's just difficult to get anything going when you have a lapel blocking your path. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for this entire tournament, I have been Jake Watson, joined by Kendall Rusing, oftentimes by Howell Teague and Chase Smith. You can follow all the updates, all the interviews, all the replays on flowgrappling.com. Follow them out on Instagram at flowgrappling.
Knee in the middle here from Amy Campo's very smart play. She was about to get tilted, brings the knee up to kind of mitigate that.
Well, Kendall, you brought up a point earlier that I don't think a lot of people think about too often, but imagine the supposed pressure that an athlete like Amy might be feeling here in the finals of the Absolute, and she's doing so well. Going tit for tat with three-time black belt world champion as of today, Gabriela Pessanha, and not conceding any points. I mean, it is still 0-0 across the board. No definitive advantage either way in terms of who has almost passed or who has almost swept or submitted. So as the match goes on, I imagine with the champion, Gabriela Pessanha, it would favor Amy Campo to continue doing this well. It would weigh on the mind, perhaps, of Gabriela Pessanha, or so theoretically. I mean, when you look at Gabriela Pessanha, it seems that she is just emotionless until her hand is raised. Then you see the nice smile on Gabriela Pessanha's face. But up until that point, it is not a scowl, it's not a smile, it is just emotionless.
Yeah, it's something interesting about both athletes. They're both in this, newer generation. Even though Gabi's a 3-time black belt world champion, she's absolutely a newer black belt, right? She just won her first black belt world championship in December of last year. So a newer black belt, just like Amy, and both of them have the same thing in common, which is one of the reasons they do so well, is they respect all their opponents, but they don't put too much weight in their accolades, right? They just go out looking for the kill. Similar to how we saw, Ty and Mika run through this tournament the same way. They were going against legends, and they just act like it's a day in the office. But Gabi Pessanha is, again, we said earlier, one of the most intelligent strategists I've ever seen. She has the closed guard. It's just such long legs, so she'll kind of lock up a body triangle and then switch exactly when she needs to back to regular closed guard to avoid any penalties. And Amy, bringing that knee up in the middle, really, really lessens the power of Gabi's closed guard. But now Gabi might come up on a 2, but Amy sets her back down with that single leg position. And we're back in the closed guard with 4:40 left on the clock.
This is a very interesting fight to behold, because it seems that Gabriela Pessanha is being stuffed at every turn, but it's also forcing Amy Campo to consistently concede close guard over and over, because it's the safest spot to be after some of these exchanges.
And you kind of fall into close guard and to avoid falling anywhere else. Right?
Absolutely. And I wonder, as the match goes into its waning phases, those last 2 minutes, those last 1 minute, what kind of change are we going to see out of both of these athletes to try to really win the judges' favor? Because if I'm in the final of the Absolute division at Worlds as a black belt, I'm going to be very nervous, possibly the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting seeing Amy's choice of grips here. She almost gets knocked over there for a moment. Gabi's starting to underhook the leg with her right hand. She looked to want to pass the sleeve over, but Amy able to keep her left elbow inside the leg instead. And I will tell you, one of the major differences between these athletes, at least in my experience, and from what I see with the other women in the division, is Gabrielle is almost always able to power through a position that she wants. She is so strong, she is so powerful, she is so hard to move. Her grips are feeling like they feel impossible to break. Amy, on the other hand, is very strong, very powerful, but a little less of that and more, she's very creative. She'll be in a seemingly dangerous position, and then she does some weird kind of twist or some weird kind of motion. Of course, weird saying that looking from the outside, very calculated on her. Very creative, very crafty. I'm sure she trains that way. And then she'll end up either neutral or in a dominant position after that. It's pretty wild. So different styles, absolutely, for these two ladies.
Oh, big sweep attempt from Gabriela Pessanha, but...
And it won't even score an advantage because Amy was never sat all the way down. She came right up to her feet, but now...
But situations like this do matter in the minds of the judges. Amy Campo has been unable to really set up anything for herself.
So look at a triangle here for Gabriela Pessanha, but Amy able to dig her right elbow back inside into safety. And now going double under, but Gabi's very strong with this right-handed grip on the belt. She uses this very often, keeps her opponent attached to her. She'll oftentimes sink some butterfly hooks and flip them all the way over, or go for a triangle. That's what she's definitely looking for here. Get some nice elevation up into a sweep, such as back to De La Riva with her left leg. But Amy's base, she's almost impossible to sweep. I mean, it's incredible the way that she stays on top with someone as powerful, experienced, and talented as Gabriela Pessanha. These are positions I think it's worth noting if you haven't watched too much of Gabriela. These attacks, I mean, these are things she finishes easily on most people. And I won't say easily as if it doesn't involve effort, but once she gets to the point she's getting to with Amy, where she's tilting them all the way over, she will absolutely finish. And Amy's coming back every time.
This is an interesting new development by Amy Campo here with a double under, but it's really been a single grip by Gabriela Pessanha on either side that's been stopping the forward progression of Amy Campo. And though the score is tied, Gabi Pessanha has had a lot of attempts towards submissions, throwing up triangles over and over, having a couple near sweep attempts, and that all matters here as we go into the last 2 minutes of this match in the women's absolute final, the culmination of all the women's fights across all 5 days of the IBJJF World Championship. And this is the grip that I was talking about earlier that Amy Campo cannot let happen.
And she will score 2 here with 90 seconds on the clock, but she may return the favor.
Coming up on top. Get up on top again, Amy Campo.
Wow, big sweep return for Amy Campo, evening the score out here, 2-2.
But giving up the
120.
lapel yet again. This could potentially be another really tough spot Amy Campo finds herself in. Kicking out
Sideways close
the
guard.
arm as best she can. This is a smart move. Now back on top in close guard. Only 1 minute left, Kendall.
And again, coming back into close guard is the safe option. We've seen that a couple of times. This is definitely a case where Gabi is seemingly controlling the pace of the match, right? She is the one on the offense. Amy doing an incredible job, but she just hasn't been able to get the space she needs or, you know, the distance she needs from those lapel grips to start getting her offense going. Now, we saw Gabi lock up that body triangle. The referee walked around to check it out. Gabi released it immediately because she knows she cannot afford a penalty here with the score tied up. That would make the difference in the entire match. And with 30 seconds left,
oh my goodness, 30
she
seconds.
looks for another score. Yes, she underhooks the leg. She's staying very, very active here, but 20 seconds. Amy desperately trying to stand up to make something else happen as Gabi scoops that foot up onto the shoulder.
Amy Campo needs to do something that's going to net her a submission attempt. Gabriela Pessanha with a signature omoplata. Amy Campo trying to step back around. Only 10 seconds left for one of these ladies to score an advantage. Otherwise, we are going to go to ref's decision. And it looks like that's the direction we're headed.
And we will go to referee's decision here.
What a great effort from Amy Campo, keeping just complete pace with Gabriela Pessanha. But Pessanha had so many submission attempts, I would be very surprised if the decision did not go her way. But we'll see as the referees raise their hands and get prepared to announce their decision.